Today we're talking chest rigs, and more specifically, my two favorite chest rigs that I run. And so hopefully this will answer some of the questions I get whenever I post photos or videos of either one of these. People want to know who makes them, how I have them set up, how did I get certain things mounted on there, but also hopefully provide some insight for some of you who are looking for your own chest rigs or who are looking into getting one, give you guys some things to look out for that may help you as you purchase your own. And this is one of those videos where if there's something specific you're looking for, you can scroll along the bottom or hit the chapter points in the description. Now, I want to kick off this video by talking about why I prefer chest rigs over belts, especially recently. So if you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you know that I trained with a belt and with a plate carrier for the longest. Coming into this year, one of my goals was to practice from concealed more often and to become more proficient at running from concealed versus running from a duty belt or a range belt or battle belt, whatever you want to call it. And that's what I've done. Well, when I did that, when I made that change, I no longer had the belt to carry all the extra things that I normally use during training, whether that's extra mags, markers, med kit, water, just miscellaneous items that I would normally have on a belt I no longer had on me. And enter in chest rigs. So I have these two. I've had this one a little bit longer than this one. I go back and forth between the two, and we'll talk about their setups here in a bit. But what they allow me to do is to carry those extra items that I couldn't on my belt. And since running chest rigs, I found that I can actually carry more things on my chest rig than I could on my belt. And two, it's more comfortable. If you're on range for 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and you're doing that for multiple days, whether it's at a training course for training and like for us for filming or whatever, that weight on your hips wears over time. And guys who are professionals, who are cops who have to get in and out of cars, they can attest to this. The weight that they carry on their belts, especially if you're in a department that doesn't give you a load-bearing vest, it kind of eats at your hips over time and it becomes very uncomfortable. So the same is true of our training as civilians. And I found the chest rigs to be more comfortable and allow me to carry more things in a more convenient way. It's easier to access everything that I need or might need in a into the world, whatever situation that you want to insert. So that's why I've grown to love chest rigs over belts. There are some guys that disagree with me. I've talked at length about this with Bruiser and with Lone Star and a bunch of other guys. But as a civilian, I would say maybe consider, if you don't already have a belt, or if you're looking for something to upgrade, maybe consider getting into a chest rig. But that all out of the way, let's talk about the two chest rigs, how I had them set up, what I like and don't like about each individual setup. And then we'll get into some things that maybe might help you as you set yours up. Kicking us off, we have my Frankenstein build of Haley Strategic and Spiritus systems. Now I'll talk you through all the parts here in a minute, but what this was set up for, what this was designed for, was I want to get into run and gun. And so I started setting up the chest rig so that I could train out of it, preparing for run and gun, but I needed a chest rig that would carry all the things that I needed to carry in competitions. But also this was set up for when we do night vision, so there's a whole night vision series coming, and this will be what I use during that, along with being able to carry any long range stuff. So when I go back to Oregon to travel to go shoot with Bruiser, or if he comes here, it has everything that I need in it. But that's what this rig was set up for, that I could carry the things that I need on me and be able to access all of them at any given moment. And that's why it's set up this particular way. So on the front, the main compartment of this is the Haley Strategic Micro Chest Rig. And if I had one thing that I would change about it, or that I will change about it, is I have the triple placard in here, but inside of that I have little plastic clips that hold the mags, and they just give them a little bit more security. And while that is nice and it does hold them very well, when actually using it, I end up hitting myself in the face. So I'm going to take those out and run just the nylon. And if there's an issue where I feel like they're coming out too easily, I'll just simply make a little bungee tab that goes over to hold them down and do it that way. Your mileage may vary. Try out both, see what you like, see what works for you. But for me, I'll be taking that plastic piece out. On the side, I usually throw a pistol mag right here, or a multi-tool, whatever I need, whatever the day calls for. On this side, I have a flashlight. So if we're doing low light, again, night vision stuff, I can access a flashlight if I need it. In the front pouch here on the Haley Strategic, I keep all the things that I need access to. So if we're doing long range precision stuff, I have a rangefinder in there. So this is a Vortex Ranger 1800. Shout out to my brother, he got me that. So I use that quite a bit when we're ranging targets or setting up a range card. Kestrel, headlamp, again, just using this for low light, no light. And I get these from REI, but I like this version because it has the red, so it doesn't affect your night vision quite as much and doesn't leave as big of a light signature. Also, field notes in there with a Right in the Rain, and that's just so I can keep track of my holds. I keep track of data in here. Any information I need to write down, I throw that in there. And then I keep a little extra thing of Ear Pro in here. And there's just some Surefire in-ears that I throw in there in case I need some or I forget my Ear Pro. Those have actually saved me quite a few times. In here, I've stashed just a little Sharpie in between the mag pouches and the back of that. One thing I will say about this before we move on to the rest is that I bought this before the new Mark V came out from Spiritus, and had the Mark V been out, I probably would have got the Mark V before I would get this. And the reason for that is that I like the modularity of Spiritus. So I'm limited in what I have here, and if at any point I wanted to get rid of this pouch right here, I can't. If I wanted to change it out for something, I can't. With the Mark V, you can do that, and I like that option of the Spiritus. So probably in the future, I may swap this out, take the Haley off, and get a Spiritus Mark V and throw that on there. But it works for now, but you can build the same setup exactly like this is with Spiritus with the new Mark V. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about what you want to get or shopping for your own stuff. On the back side, what we have that attaches to the micro chest rig is the Thing 2. Now this is what, it's an expander set. It allows you to add these other pouches on, add other mags in there, whatever you need, allows you to do that. So you'll notice across the back, there is a little Velcro spot here. And what that is for, you can put a dangler there. So if you want to run one of their fanny pouches, their abdomen pouch, any kind of dangler items, go there. Keeps it nice and neat. You don't have the Velcro rubbing against you. On each side, you will have little pouches. It comes with the bungee to attach. So I throw extra mags in here or a radio on this side. And then on the front of it, we've got the Spiritus water bottle holder. This is the Nalgene holder. On this side, this is just their medium pouch. Now, I use this for a variety of things. It's just kind of like a catch-all. Depends on what I'm doing that day, this will change out. So again, if it's night vision, I may throw my nods in here. I may throw a battery thing in there. I may carry tools. I may carry a med kit. Whatever the day calls for, and however I have my kit set up for that day or whatever I'm wearing that day will determine what is in here or nothing in here. Now, inside of it, I do have their little padded insert that goes in here, and this is their medium pouch, and then I just do the padded insert, so that way when I do throw my nods in there, it protects them, and that is what I mainly keep in there, is mainly nods or med kit. Those are the main two things come out of it. In this front pocket, I do keep a couple little items. So I have a mirror for signaling, so if there was some sort of end of the world situation or some wrecky situation, I have that in there, along with a compass. So if I'm setting up and I need to keep track of where I'm going and I don't have a digital way to keep track where I'm going, I can use that. So little land nav for you guys. And then of course you got to have the spuds from Big Tex. Keep your optics and your glasses clean. That is how I have this chest rig set up. I've had this one the longest. I've run it quite a bit. I like it. The only thing that I don't really like is the chicken strap on the back that goes around to attach. It doesn't keep it very sturdy, especially when you get into a chest rig like this. It carries a lot more weight. When you're running or moving a lot, it tends to, I don't know, it doesn't feel as secure, right? If you're just hiking, if you're moving at a pretty good pace, and you're not having to do any like super fast movements or a lot of like jumping up and down, it's not a big deal. But once you start running full sprint, it kind of gets a little awkward the way things move around. But it is nice to be able to get everything out of it. And I do like it because if I'm sitting in my truck or if I'm in a car and I'm in a city that is like Baltimore, right, or Philadelphia, where there's civil unrest constantly. I think today there was like 9 people shot in Philadelphia today alone. And if I'm in somewhere like that and I feel like I've got to wear this when I'm driving around, the great thing is I can access everything that I need on here at any given time. Now, while I may not need the long range stuff, being able to get things like a med kit or some sort of signaling mirror or a flashlight, whatever, being able to have all that here is much easier to access than if I were wearing something like a belt, right? If you got your seatbelt on, it makes it more difficult to get those items from off of your hips. But that is the Spiritus Haley setup. Again, probably going to swap this out for a Spiritus Mark V in the future. Oh, and for those of you who might be wondering, this is the X harness, not the H harness. I do have the H harness. I've run it. It has pros and cons, each one. Some fit other people better than others, and depending on the chest rig and where the clips go in, how wide they are out versus how narrow in they are, will determine whether an X harness or an H harness fits you better. So you may have to try out both and figure out what works for you. But once I put the expander on, I moved up, they got a little bit wider, and the H harness didn't fit me as well, so I swapped over to the X. Next up, we have the Brave Castle BCR1. Now, this was sent to me by Brave Castle. If you remember in the video where I did Rethinking Gear as an Average Joe, I had Taylor's Brave Castle rig, and I messed with that for a little bit, and I really liked it, but the main issue was Taylor's a large. I'm not a large, I'm obviously a small. So talking with the guys at Brave Castle, they said, hey, we got a prototype small, would you mind testing it out for us, give us some feedback? I said, sure. So just want to clarify, this was sent to me by Brave Castle. They're not paying for this video. They're not paying me in any way, shape, or form, but want to clarify that for you, and I'll try to be as unbiased as possible. Now, what I really like about this chest rig is its slim form factor and how you can run it super slick and run this under a jacket or maybe under a big button-up shirt and be able to still carry the things that you need on you in a vital situation. And like the Spiritus, this chest rig is modular. So you can change and take certain things out. It's probably not as modular as the Spiritus, but it does allow you to reshape certain things to carry what you need and change the setup based on the gear that you're running that day. So in here in the front, you will notice that we have these overlapping Velcro slots. And what that allows you to do is that if you undo them, you can take out any of these placards in here or these little pouches for your pistol or rifle and make it smaller or larger as needed. Now, the way that I have it set up is I have the triple rifle placard in the back, and then I have it's a quad pistol placard in the front. Now, I'm only using 2 pistol mags in here at the moment, but if you wanted to run 4, you could, or you could also take out the triple placard in the back and then run just the pistol. So if you're running something like a PCC and you want to run 4 PCC mags, you can do that, or just pistol mags, whatever suits what you're doing in that moment, you can do that. Now, one cool design they have in here that I like is they utilize the space in between the mags. So you'll notice I have the Sharpie in here. They've actually stitched in these Sharpie holders. Now you can put a Sharpie in there, you can put a Chem Light. If you have like a little sharp, stubby, pokey thing that you want to put in there, you can do that as well. Or even one of the multitasker twists, the like pin size one, you can even put that in there and keep it as a multi-tool. But you'll notice there's a little slot, I can slide that in there. So it just allows you to keep little items. It's just a great way to utilize the space, and I really dig that. I really like that design, that there was some thought that went into that, because as you saw on my other chest rig, I just shoved the Sharpie down in there. Moving on from the main area, you'll notice that it does run tubes. So Brave Castle are partners with First Spear. So what they do is they've designed the chest rig, and First Spear make it. So we have quality manufacturing from First Spear, quality materials and stitching that you know and can trust, and that's what you're getting in this Brave Castle. And I think coming in at like $200 or around $200 for this rig, you're getting a super quality setup. So really, really amazing setup that they've got. But the other thing that I really like about this is that you have this cummerbund that goes around, and it allows you to carry, whether it's extra mags. And here I've got a tourniquet on this side. Again, you can throw Chem Lights, stabby, pokey thing, Sharpie, whatever you want there. But it allows you to utilize this space around your body. So instead of running the chicken strap that goes around that I was talking about earlier that I didn't like, this allows you to utilize that space and take all the gear that we would carry in the front and start to move that around your body and carry that. This is also great because with the elastic cummerbund, it holds a little bit tighter to your body, and when you're running or moving, it doesn't bounce around quite as much as the other one, and it just holds the gear. It feels more sturdy to me, especially if you're moving, running, jumping, climbing a lot. I really like that. On the back of the chest rig, you will see that they've got some laser cut MOLLE slots in here, so you could mount maybe like a radio pouch back here if you wanted to run your radio on the back and then run the wires up to your ears, your helmet, whatever you're doing. So that is a great option there. Maybe you could even mount a bladder there. I'm not sure. I'll have to check with those guys, but that is an option. And then on the side, they have this med pouch. So you can mount it on either side, and the way it's set up, it uses kind of the First Spear hook and loop setup they have that goes around. Really like this. Now I have this set up on the left side just to match my plate carrier, because that's where it's at on my plate carrier. But in here, what I carry is just a little pocket med pouch from Filster. So it takes essentially your IFAK and puts it in a really slim form factor, all vacuum sealed down. You just grab out what you need. I've got a few other little first aid pieces in there that if I need them, I can access them. But that's what I keep in there. And this has been my go-to rig for the range. So when I'm on range, what I really need is just to carry extra mags with me, a Sharpie, a med kit, and to be able to access that quickly. And even training with this, I've come to realize that when I travel, so like if I go on a road trip down to Big Tex, or if I'm like flying somewhere, I can take this chest rig, throw it in a suitcase. Because it's small in form factor, when you take the mags out, it just like kind of rolls up. You can throw it in your gun case pretty easily. It's something that I can travel with, that it's easy to take with me, and something that I could even keep in the truck. So that if there was, again, that thinking big city, civil unrest, end of the world type situation, I could carry this with me and have it and grab it and access it when I need it and put it on quickly because of the tube system. And that's what I really like about it. So I would feel comfortable and confident taking it, because what I need is just extra rounds and then some sort of med kit. If I was out in Oregon, or if I was somewhere in Arizona, maybe something like the Spiritus one that I have set up, big with everything on there, that might suit me a little bit better. But if I'm in like an urban city center, this might work a little bit better because I don't need those extra items. And I'm probably operating from within a vehicle and just trying to get out of town. Keep that in mind as a civilian and as you're looking to get your own. But I do like this. The only downside is that if I wanted to build this out bigger, if I wanted to expand this kit like I have the Spiritus, you couldn't do that with this one. At least not right now. I know they've got some other really cool stuff in the works beyond chest rigs, so maybe there's a part of that in the future. But as of right now, I still think this is a great chest rig, and I love it. I've been using it. You've seen it in a few of the other videos, or you will see it in a few other videos. I've been running this 90% of the time. But both these are great options, and they are two solutions to the same problem, right? They're just going about it a different way, two different setups, depending on what it is you need, what it is you want to do, what you're trying to achieve. So as you're thinking about your own chest rig, as you're thinking about your own gear, think about the problem you're trying to solve, right? What gear do you realistically need to carry? And don't go off of somebody else's SOPs, right? We can learn from the people who've been through things and done things, but remember, you're preparing for a situation that there is no basis for, right? Like there's no baseline to go off of, there's no data off of it, right? So you have to determine for yourself, one, based on your skill set, what are the tools you actually need to keep with you? And then two, what are the things like realistically that you need to carry? Like you don't need to carry everything with you all the time. And then three, building out your kit around that, you know, what works for you, and then training with it. You know, training is going to be the biggest thing. So you'll see me training out of the chest rig more and more often, because if something did happen, that would be what I would grab. If you're looking at some of the other chest rigs on the market, I know this is not exhaustive, right? There's a bunch of other really good chest rigs on the market. One thing I would say to consider and keep in mind that as you're looking at other chest rigs, especially things like the Mayflower or some of the other chest rigs that have set dedicated pouches, those pouches may not work for you in the gear you're going to carry, right? So as we go back to what I was talking about earlier, once you determine what it is you want to carry or need to carry, maybe those pouches don't fit it, or maybe they don't fit them in the way that you want to use them, right? It takes time to figure these things out. As you train it, you realize, okay, reaching for that from there doesn't work. Maybe I need to move that over here. Or, you know, when I'm going for a mag reload, this gets in the way, so I need to move that. Things like that you figure out in training. So just keep in mind that it may be a trial and error situation, that as you buy kit, as you acquire kit, and you start training with it, you realize certain things may or may not work for you. So keep an open mind that there is no best chest rig for any person or any situation. You have to determine that for yourself. There's also new solutions on the market every day, like the new Onward Research, the new split rig from Spiritus, and some of the others. So I think Joe's getting a split rig, so I'll pick his brain on that and see what he thinks of that. But there's more and more solutions coming to the market for a wider variety of civilians and the environment you live in and what it is you're trying to do. So get out, test your gear, train in it, and find out what works best for you. If you have any questions about either one of those, anything that I left out, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, crunch up that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I want to quickly preface that. Let's start that part over. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, let's start that over. Start the whole segment over. Let's try that one again. Ugh, burp got stuck. Take 8. Why does my nose itch? Take 8,742. Stop itching. Smoking crack or something. Stop. Geez, that took like 15 years to do that video.